everybody, and welcome back to the Dead Ranter channel. Did away with the mask. I thought it over. It seemed a bit unnecessary. Anyways, welcome back to the channel, fellow ranters. Today, I have something a bit different in store for you. Come here. Let me show you something. Now, what's this thing, you might be wondering? Well, if you would allow me. Actually, you can already see the top of it with the camera. Yes, that is right, my fellow ranters. This just in, today, on this wonderful June 27th, my brand new Flashforge, I believe, 3? Hang on. Flashforge 3, that would be correct, has arrived here in my home, in my humble office. Now, let's get this bad boy out of the box, shall we? And see what it can do. I've heard many great things about this printer. It's user-friendly, it's very low maintenance, and it's not a nightmare and a half to load. Let's see, what do we have here? We have a small bag of tools. I have several of these. Oh, that's nice. Some machine lubricant. It's always nice to have. We have after-sales service. A nice vibrant roll of red filament. Should get quite a bit of mileage out of this. Not the biggest roll, but it should do. I have another roll here, blue. A fair bit smaller. From what I've seen, you can't use super large rolls on this thing. You'd have to come up with your own little jig, which I'm sure I could manage. Of course, we have the power cable, as expected. But let's get the crown jewel out of the box, shall we? But first, let's move everything over here. Ugh. Much bigger than anticipated. Actually, not too much, though I did think it was going to be a fair bit smaller. Alright, let's get back to our proper setup, shall we? Now, let's get this thing out of its packaging. Now, isn't this thing just a beaut? Well, let's get this plastic off, too. And there it is. In the flesh, or in the plastic and steel and wires. Up. But one last thing. Would appear that's not getting out without much of a fight. Well, without a fight. I suppose once I power this thing on, we should be able to see in action. But, for right now, let's turn this, shall we? You pop that bad boy right off, and that's where you load in our filament. Now, I could open up a brand new roll, but I do have one here. So let's see if this fits first. Like a glove. Like a glove. Seriously. Perfect fit. Well, how about we plug this fellow in, shall we? Make sure you don't have any tape stuck to absolutely everything before you open it. Now, chances are you probably can't pick this up on the mic. This thing is quite quiet, actually. But, oh. Imagine you could hear that. Well, let's see what this bad boy's capable of, shall we? Now, chances are you can't make out the three options we have available on here. There's a bit of plastic on here. Let's yoink that off. But we have three options. We have build, tools, and filament. And from top to bottom. Let's try filament. Load, change, manual. Let's go with load. And now with that out of the way, we should be able to safely extract you. Quite a small bed, but has a fair bit of height. Should be able to get quite a bit of mileage out of this thing. And we waited for it to finish heating to 240 degrees Celsius. If I was smarter, I'd be able to tell you off the top of my head what that is in Fahrenheit, but alas. And now we are heated to the appropriate temperature. Let's come in on the other side. Grab the loose end. I should turn this so the rest of you can see. Apologies for the sound. And you can see it going on its own. Oh, wait, I realized a little too late. I may have put my filament in the wrong direction. Don't make that mistake, fellow ranters. That's how you snap your filament mid-print. That's how you get failed prints, because there's nothing feeding into your printer. Never do that. But let's grab the plate that used to be there. Has a little tab at the bottom that should slide right on in there, and oh, I see. You pull that out and it pops right back in. And let's turn back. You may not be able to see it. Oh, you actually can, as a matter of fact, as there is a little bit of test filament oozing out of our brand new extruder. And that's how you know you've got another color loaded in currently. Now, let's hit OK, as it stops that process and we got our whatever else it pushes out. Now, let's move over to the tools. So we have network, preheat, settings, and about. Let's check out settings. We have status, language, calibration, homing, move, camera, filament check, LED, buzzer, factory reset, update, and change extruder. Now, let's calibrate. Calibration is basically your printer going to its most extreme points. Usually it has some kind of sensors or buttons that it clicks when it reaches said points, so it knows not to go too far. My Ender 3, or Ender 3 Pro, works just like that. It has 3 buttons it clicks once it gets to its extreme, so it knows not to go too far lest it ends up breaking its own motors. I'm not quite sure how this Flashforge 3D, not Flashforge 3D, it's Flashforge, I believe it's called the Adventure 3? Yes, the Adventurer 3. You can't see where I'm pointing, but it has it written on the side. And there it goes. And we are done. Now, let's try homing. And there we go with the auto homing. Let's check status. Our extruder is sitting at a comfortable 40 degrees Celsius. Our bed is sitting at roughly 22 degrees Celsius. And we have a roll of blue loaded in. Down here is simply just the current coordinates of the extruder. And let's back out of settings. Now, this is simply just a right out of the box unboxing, very quick review. I promise I'll do a more in-depth one in a second. But let me give my closing thoughts on what I think of this thing so far, even before stress testing it. It's sleek, it's small, it's very compact, which I like. It's compact, it's sturdy, it's not wibbly wobbly, unlike my Ender 3. It's a great printer, but it is also held together with just a bunch of steel beams and nuts and bolts. It's not the sturdiest thing, but this bad boy, I can tell I'm going to get a lot of mileage out of it. I can tell it's going to hold together. Another great thing is having this door here. Doesn't seem like a big deal. It's like, oh, that's fun. You can watch your print from the inside, but you can do that from any other printer. No, the great part of this is it helps it regulate the temperature. So you don't have a little gust come in and throw an entire layer off and it ends up destroying your entire print. It stops it from shifting around, sliding on the bed. This is a brand new bed, this is a brand new extruder, brand new printer and everything, so we shouldn't have any problems for a long time. And again, this is quite the low maintenance printer, so this shouldn't be too hard to fix up, and frankly, I don't think it'd be too hard to mod. With the proper parts, I think you could easily hook up a dual extruder or something. Heck, you could even print out your own parts. That's the benefit of a 3D printer. It can make all of its own upgrades. You just gotta know what you're doing. Now, one of the things about the Flashforge that might set some people off, not me though, is that you have to use Flashforge's own software. But that's not a big deal. Not to me anyways. Frankly, from my short-lived time having a Flashforge printer way back, I forget what model it was. It was one with a dual extruder. The print quality was phenomenal. The one problem was a dual extruder with the feeding mechanism built directly into the extruder. It melted and gummed it up, and it was generally a nightmare to clean. So we ended up sending it back. But this thing, you have the feeding mechanism way back there. Well, maybe not back there, it's on the side, but still. I think I'm gonna have a great time with this. Now, don't think I'm going to stop using my Ender 3, which I will show off at some point. No, it's simply I have to do some printer maintenance on that. Maybe I'll print some upgrades and whatnot to have it go smoother, but I could easily use both of these in tandem. Say I need to print a lot of things in bulk. I can use both at the same time. The Ender 3, it's a good printer, not the most reliable, but it still works just fine. Oh, one last thing before we leave. You can hook this thing up directly to your computer, be it USB right here, or you can hook it up via Bluetooth, or even an Ethernet cable sneakily hidden in the back. I'd show it off, but it's very hard to see. It's like right in the bottom area here in the back. But yeah, so say you don't have a cable, or say you don't want to have to risk a cable unplugging. you could connect us directly via the internet. Well, I do believe that is all in this initial look, review, unboxing of the Flashforge Adventurer 3. In part 2, I'll show off the Flashforge software, and I'll show off this thing printing in action. And then I will give my well and proper thoughts after it is done and I get to see the quality. Maybe I'll do the classic benchy. Chances are you may not know what a benchy is. A benchy is a little boat that passes all of the extremes a 3D printer may have to deal with. Or I may print one of these little Eevees. I only have one of them lying around. They're a good benchmark test. This one did not come out the greatest, as it is missing a limb, but that was just from it getting unstuck. But printing complications and whatnot, there's a reason I don't operate my printer in my room. But this one can operate in here just fine, thanks to this. Not sure what this is. Plastic, I guess. Point being, we have one printer set up outside in a separate room. We have one printer in here now. So, part 2. We'll push it to see how it handles a bench line test like this Eevee. And we'll see just how this printer handles action. Well, for now, that's all, fellow ranters. Have a good morning, evening, night, no matter what your time zone may be. And peace. Bye.